Welcome everyone to the season 3 finale of Crypto City. I can't believe we finished 3 full seasons. I'm absolutely humbled and grateful that something that started as just a concept to try and help everyone learn has grown into something that's a community resource, both in VR and in real life. I'm really excited to have reached this milestone, and I'm very grateful to all of you who have been with me throughout all 3 seasons. And every week it seems like we may get 1 or 2 more people from the community, but I love the fact that we started out in alt space, we migrated over to spatial, and here we are in VR chat just finishing. This is really exciting for me to be able to finish season 3. Definitely looking forward to season 4. We'll be taking a few weeks off during January and starting back up in February with season 4. There's going to be a few changes that season that hopefully you will enjoy, starting with the fact that we're going to try to have 1 episode per month where one of our Web3 experts will come on and teach the crowd to do a specific skill. So I know not all of you here are building worlds, not all of you are here trading crypto or doing, things that are actively creative in Web3, but that's okay because these episodes they're intended to teach those who are interested in learning more, as well as get those who are just finding out about this stuff interested in doing more. So, this is going to be really exciting. We'll definitely have promos before each of those episodes, so you'll know what skill it is we're going to teach. And I encourage you that, if it's something that, if it's world building and that's not something you're interested in, just come and listen to it and learn anyways, because it will help you understand the process a little bit better that the world builders do when they try to make these incredible experiences for us. If it's something to do with crypto and, you're like, I'm not really into investing, that's okay. Just come and learn so you can find out what investing in crypto is all about and what it actually entails, because what you're interested in today could be completely different 6 months, a year down the road from now. Your whole world could have changed. I mean, look at me. I didn't start out in VR hosting something, and now we're at the end of 2 years working together, Blue? So it's pretty amazing that we've been doing all of this. So always keep your doors open and pay attention to what's going on around you. In addition, we're actually going to be starting a Patreon. Now, I know most of you are used to a Patreon being something that the world builders have that you can join so you can get special world builds. But a Patreon is really simply a way to show support to the people who are creating within Web3. And we're going to have a little bit different type of Patreon. We're going to have different levels. And hopefully this Patreon will help us raise a little money to be able to give back to the community in the form of compensating like these trainers that I'm trying to have on each month, and to be able to update the world periodically to incorporate new technology as it becomes available. So, we look to have a lot of special technological giveaways throughout the course of season 4 as well. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be exciting. And, if you have any interest in joining the Patreon after this episode, within the next few days, I'm going to be putting out some information on our social media. So pay attention. If you have questions, always reach out to me. You can either find me here in VR or send me a message on social media and I'll respond back to you. All the details aren't completely finalized yet, but I can share with you that it will include some ad space within Crypto City. So those of you who are trying to promote your brand or your service, it will be there for you. And there will also include promotions within our social media. So stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. So also in our off season, we will continue to post on social media any news happenings that are noteworthy and updates that, come up in the news about, AI, different tech things. It will also going to have some really cool guests coming on in season 4. Just a quick teaser. We already have a few people scheduled, including G Deuce, Madame Tank, and Satomora, just to name a few. So stay tuned. So this episode, we're just going to touch on a brief overview of all the things that happened this season. Remember, you can always rewatch any of these episodes that you might be interested in on our YouTube channel. And you can access any of the slides and the pertinent information in our Discord. We're not going to replay everything right now. I'm just going to give you a quick little synopsis of all the different things that we've done. So let's start with our season opener, which featured Kip VR right there in the audience. So he's a special world builder who has gone across all platforms from Altspace to VRC to spatial and now into Utopia. And he's even built this studio that we're in right now tonight. So he's using programs such as Unity and Blender and expanded into even creating avatars and running his own Patreon. He's focused on giving back to his Patreon members by creating community builds where people can live together in complexes. And he also created some incredible worlds for everybody to hang out in and basically just build the community up as a place for everybody to come in here, socialize. There's even places within his Discord that you can learn a little bit if you're interested in watching them build worlds. So definitely somebody to follow if you're not already. It's Kip VR. If you can see him in here, you can follow him on Instagram and you can join his Discord, which is definitely a place that's worth being in. So next up, we had Aussie Guy 92. Aussie Guy is a well-known tech guru. He runs a website called Aussie Guy 92, and he also runs one called vrcreatives.net. So he's got a wealth of knowledge that he shares with the community regularly, builds worlds and shares them with the community. And he believes in growing the community by not only sharing assets, but your skills. So he wants to find out what people are wanting to learn, and then he incorporates it into his website. He even goes as far as to sit there and stalk his Google Analytics to see which pages are not getting the best hits on it. So he'll go back and he'll rework those pages to get better community feedback from it. He's absolutely, a huge supporter of Altspace when it was around and missed it so much when it was gone, and took it really, as many of us did, took it as a piece of his heart that he had to put on a shelf. So he created another website called Everything Altspace for the people to go and share their memories from there. So if you haven't checked that out and you're from Altspace, definitely go look at that. It's a really beautiful memorial to something that was a very special part of a lot of our lives. We then had Miggy Sellis on, and Miggy has been a field expert with Crypto City since our start. He's pretty much involved in all things Web3, crypto, gaming, you name it. He comes on and he talks to us about a lot of different tech. This time he came on and talked about the state of crypto rebounding after the market fall, and also with the fallout from FTX and the SEC regulations. He talked to us a little bit about his trade shows that he attends, like Rare EVO, and the game that he's been working on actively called Altera, which actually had to be put on a shelf because, as he described it, building VR games is very expensive and requires a lot of funding. But in order to keep a lot of the people who are involved in the funding still interested, they released a minor version of the game for those people to be able to go out and see the direction of where they're going. So even though that's on hold, they are still planning on releasing it in the future, and he is still very actively involved in, working with that company and still promoting all of the Web3 VR stuff within his community where he lives. He also is actively going to a lot of the cryptocurrency shows that are out there so that he can see where everybody's at, see what's up and coming, and which cryptocurrencies are actually worth being investing in because they're growing and they're showing a lot of future potential. Kind of like Ethereum, when it came out, was such a, everybody jumped on it because of its utility with NFTs and because of the fact that it was going to have lower gas prices than Bitcoin and everything else. So he's definitely somebody that has been a valuable asset to this show, and we look forward to having him on again in the future at some point. The following episode we had on Nate McCrory, and this was actually done as a Zoom call because this was one of those wonderful nights when you come into VR and you're ready to do your thing, and technologically everything went wrong. We couldn't get him to connect. He couldn't get his avatar in. So we were scrambling and we said, let's just do a Zoom call. And so we had him on live. It was a perfect example of overcoming the challenges that we sometimes face in here. So he talked to us about his creations of music and art NFTs. And he actually talked to us on a very personal level and told us about how he focused on these NFTs because it helps him overcome his mental health issues that he has with depression and, manic behavior. So he's working very hard right now with a company called Era 404 Records, and they're planning to integrate digital fashion collectibles to be paired with his music. And that's definitely very interesting. And it was an exciting episode to see someone using technology to overcome personal challenges. Our next episode, we have another regular audience member, Boss Leo IO. She came on and talked to us about, her journey into VR and what she's doing with it. She's truly an inspiration who decided to put her 9-to-5 job to the side to follow her goals and build here in Web3. Starting in Horizon Worlds, she's been a world builder, and she's also actively been a mentor to a lot of the community, sharing her business skills and helping other people find their way. She's been part of some of the big expositions in here for Web3, like Ascension XR, and she even started a few of her own businesses in here, one called Pipe Dream Ventures, and the other is the Diamond Resilience. She works hard to showcase and promote the community, and actually held a white elephant event last week that we were able to have some of the community members come together and offer up their services and skills as gifts in this event. And it proceeded just as a normal, white elephant event, which is similar, for those who don't know, as to like a Yankee swap, where people got to, pull a number, choose a gift based on that, and they could steal from people who went before them if they wanted to swap out their gifts. But interestingly enough, there was only a few people who swapped out their gifts because the people who offered their services really brought some amazing gifts to the table. So that was really a very special way to share community skills and technology amongst community members that are already offering something, because, you might have a world builder who could use a scripter. You might have somebody who's, trying to build their business, and we had Meta Voice who can do overlays of his voice to your promos. So we had a lot of really cool things that were offered in there. The next episode I offered some training up on prompt engineering with ChatGPT. We talked about the different personas that you can master and the questions with the prompts, double checking your data and working with some of the different patterns in there. I mean, it's definitely a refinement thing that you can do. You can ask ChatGPT pretty much anything, get responses back, and then based on the response, if it's not exactly what you were looking for, you can sit there and refine your questions and get better responses out of it. We talked about, a lot of the different patterns, such as the cognitive verifier pattern. We talked about teaching ChatGPT what you want the responses to be. We also talked about a lot of different things that we can do personally, day to day. So I talked about how I use it for my nonprofit. I've used it for social media posts. I've used it to help me put together, pleas for funding. I've talked about, different things that I use it for in my real work. So there's a lot of different things that you can actually use ChatGPT for. But it is also very conversational. So we talked about how I could go in there and ask it today to give me, some safety tips for dogs that I could use with my nonprofit. And then it could list a few of them down, and I could tell it, please go back and extrapolate and expand on this particular thing that you gave me, one of these topics. And it can do that. But if I come back a week from now and the chat's still there, I can go back and say, okay, now give me more information on this other one that was in your list. And the conversation continues. So ChatGPT becomes almost like a virtual assistant. On our next episode, we then had Willow Moon Art. She came on, and I actually met her about a year and a half ago when she was on another show I did called Yummy NFTs. And she creates some incredible artwork, very bright, vivid, beautiful artwork. She has become a master of AR technology when it comes to creating some whimsical work. She has some things that she's created in Tilt Brush that she's actually been able to bring into AR, and then she creates all these little posts on her Instagram where you have these little AR creatures running around in her yard, and they're like crawling around in her house. She's had some of her work was just featured and showcased down in Miami at a show down there. She has really taken something that was fun for her and just embraced it and let it grow. She doesn't stress about, trying to, create and sell all of her work. She's doing it for the love of the work. So sometimes we get people on here who are creators. Sometimes we get people on here who are straight artists, and sometimes there's some crossover between the two. So it was really nice to visit with her. And if you, again, all of these people we're putting up here, if you're not following them already, definitely, go back and follow them on Instagram. Go into my Discord and double check their IG accounts. Look at the episodes on YouTube so you can see what they had to offer. There are definitely some people who've been on here, whether they're world builders or artists or any other type of creator, that you could benefit from if you're in here and you're trying to grow your brand. There are things that you would be able to check out and maybe meet up with them and have them help enhance your skills. The following episode, we actually did some AI marketing resources. So I came on and I talked about some of the things like Canva, which I know a lot of us use on the daily. Canva is an excellent way to be able to create promotional materials such as flyers, Instagram posts, reels, all the different things that you use in social media. It's also really good for doing presentations in businesses if you want some cover work and things like that. We talked about some of the other programs as Jasper AI, which is great for text writing for marketing, and it mostly uses like the persona pattern, so you can kind of tweak it and get it to talk in the tone that you would like it to bring forward. We talked about Rapidity for the use of captions and Deep Brain AI for human-like AI bots to help you with your videos. So all of those different resources, we put the links to in the Discord again. So make sure you go on there and check them out if you're looking for some AI resources to help you with all your promotional products. Our following episode, we brought back someone very special to Crypto City, Pixel Addict. He was my co-host in season 1. He is an incredible talker and teacher. He can come on and he can make the most deep tech things that are so boring. He makes them incredibly interesting. He just gets so, amped up and excited when he's talking. He brings everybody along for the journey with him. So he came on and talked to us about all of his AI art generation that he's been doing. He's been doing full ad campaigns. He's been helping people cut overhead and save money and be more efficient. And, he works a lot with Nutty by Nature, Uncle Vin. He's works with them, and he's been helping to incorporate the Slugga Bear into all of this different AI artwork and, ad campaigns that he's been doing. He's really been working hard to refine it. He's been working a lot with Stable Diffusion. And, I don't know if any of you ever played around with like DALL-E when it first came out, and you would ask it to create, a beautiful woman sitting on the side of the beach with the wind in her hair, and everything would look perfect except faces were so wonky. Nothing looked good. The hands were weird, but like the artwork around it was great. Well, Stable Diffusion is allowing them to actually really, narrow it down and make the faces and all the little fine details look a lot better. So he's been working a lot with that, and he's been, coming on periodically and showing us some of the updates. We'll definitely want to have him back in season 4 again. So stay tuned for him as well. Our following episode, we brought back one of our community favorites, Meta Day, and she helped us talk about, prompt engineering part 2. First part of it, when I came on, I just was telling you about how to navigate ChatGPT and how to ask it the right questions. She talked to us a little bit more about how she has actually incorporated it into some fun things, because you know what? There's life beyond work. There's life beyond all of the creative, hours that we spend in here trying to do things, and sometimes you just want to have fun. And so she talked to us about the fact that she had gone into it and created a little game of matchmaking. At the time, there was a movie that had just come out that she wanted to take the characters from that movie and ask ChatGPT if they were involved in the tech world, what would they do? And based on the persona that they had in the movie, ChatGPT actually went back and said, okay, I'm going to take that personality and marry it up to this different creative, whether it was like a world builder or somebody who was writing copy, and it went through that whole process. It was pretty interesting the way that it worked like that. She also talked about, phantom results, which can sometimes be harmful or give us links that, we don't want to click on because it can take you to harmful sites. So, we talked about some of the misinformation that comes back. So one thing that we always talk about is checking your data. It's wonderful to be able to go into ChatGPT or any other AI generative and ask it to create all of this stuff for us. But read what you got back. Go in and refine it, tweak it, make sure everything it gave you was fact. The last thing you want to do is create your promotional marketing materials with something that's not true and put it out there, and that's what you're going to be remembered for. So always double check everything that you get created for you by AI. 99% of the time it's going to be spot on and it's going to be great, but based on how you asked your question, you may have gotten the wrong information back. So, technology is wonderful until it's not. So just make sure that you're always double checking all of your work and that you're kind of, staying on top of the results that come back. You do definitely want to make sure that you're putting good stuff out there into the metaverse or into the real world, whatever you're using ChatGPT or any of these generative programs for. So one last thing that she did was she actually created her own business to honor her mom, combining sewing and Alzheimer's, which is a really heartfelt way to, create something in, the Web3 environment using AI. It was really, really nice to hear her talk about that and see the love in her, in her work come forward. So next we did have on Titan BCX. And Titan does a lot of graphic design and logos. He started creating some worlds. He does a lot of cinematic renders where he puts imagery in and incorporates motion to it. And then he kind of combines that a lot with his logo design. So more of a graphic designer that's incorporating a bit of, Web3 and VR into his work. It was fun, migrating. It was fun to watch his migration of his work that he did in the real world into a focus of, things within VR. So, and he also showed us, some of the skills that people have in the real world can be incorporated into the stuff that they're doing in here. Our next guest is Cybershay. And I mean, what can I say? She is doing everything in here. She is world building. She's learning. She's growing. She's teaching. She's doing it all. And she wrote a best-selling Kindle book. I mean, what else could she possibly give us in the future? We have seen so much come out of her. And it's funny because I remember talking to her way back when she was first learning how to world build, and she had us go look at the world that she built. And it was just so impressive to see how much she has grown. She's now working with a lot of people in here. She's working with The Block, which is helping to promote artists from within here, get their music out. She's an ambassador for Lux XR, Lux VR, which is doing a lot of designer jewelry in here. And she's involved in Mr. Block Party Radio, helping us make that a success. She's also doing a relationship podcast. I mean, there isn't enough time to talk about everything that she does. But every time she comes on our show, she totally blows us away with what she has learned and where she is going. So definitely in season 4, she'll be back to give us a rundown of everything new that she's doing in 2024. Next, we had on Matt Lowe. Matt Lowe is an incredible builder over in Horizon Worlds. He started DeVeo Technologies, which is focused on enhancing the experience for people here in VR. He's made a lot of interactive games. And he's made some really cool experiences. Some of his worlds are, worlds to just go chill in, but he's incorporated some little Easter eggs in them. On some of them, he's created little games for you to do while you're in the world, like maybe just go collect certain things to get your name up on the board saying that you've done it. He's really tried to make it a beautiful experience for everyone in here. But part of his story that was really interesting is that, he's got a big family. He's got several kids, but one of his small children, he actually had him help put the headset on and help him build this little guppy game that he released a little bit earlier this year. And he said, of course, it's not like his son could go in there and build everything up for him, but gave him input of what he would like to do. And you know what? He's sparking an interest in that child at a very young age, and that will lead to him wanting to do more within the worlds, wanting to get into the technology more, and hopefully coming back and, maybe 10 years from now, we see his son up here as one of the primary world builders here in VR. I mean, sharing that with your family and getting them excited about it is a pretty cool thing. And I loved hearing him tell us that story. He's actually, also mentioned that VR has helped him, kind of come out of his shell and, be able to come to the forefront and talk to people and actually, communicate better. It's helped him grow not only his skills, but helped him grow within the VR community and, in his real life as well. It's always good seeing people, be able to showcase their skills that way. So our next guest. This was a very funny episode. This was DJ Marcus coming up on stage and telling me to sit down. And he actually sat there and interviewed me, and it was a lot of fun. It was really great being on the opposite side of the seat. I loved being able to, share my story with everyone. And it was exciting to be able to, kind of, I don't know, like have the shoe on the other foot, and that made me have a little bit more feeling for what it's like for each one of you when you come up on my stage and I question you, So I appreciate every one of you that comes on to this show. And it was a really great feeling for me to be able to tell everybody how I got involved, what I've done in here, and what I'd like to do going forward. So that was a lot of fun. And I appreciate DJ Marcus doing that for me. He's been a big part of our community for a long time. He's doing a lot of different things to help people showcase their brands. So this was a nice way for him to give back to me. And I appreciate that very much. Okay. So our next guest, we had MetaClean Rupert. I was excited to have him on. We're starting to get a little bit more of the Horizon World people crossing over to VRC, and we're starting to have more of the VRC people crossing over into Horizon Worlds. It's nice to see a little bit of cross-platform going on. Well, I had multiple people who were here on my stage telling me all about how incredible MetaClean Rupert was, and I was like, well, why don't I have MetaClean Rupert on my stage? So I was excited to talk to DJ Marcus, who said, let me reach out to him and see if I can get him interested. And very quickly, we made it happen. And I was so excited to have him come on. He came on here and he told us a little bit about how he got his start, the things that he was doing in the real world that he felt could correlate over here into VR, which was really exciting I love seeing your skill set be married with something that's here in VR and watch it flourish. He has built some worlds over in Horizon that he has used one of them to actually showcase people, have them come on and tell their journey. They're not necessarily everybody on that list is actually providing a service or a product or anything like that. Some people are just sharing their story. He really wants to promote the community and bring them forward. And I think that is just absolutely so wonderful. And, he's also a part of the block, like we talked about Cyber Shay being part of. There's a lot of people that are really coming to the forefront in the VR community that are truly dedicated to watching the community grow. And we talk sometimes about the fact that everybody has a purpose in here. We have the world builders, we have the world visitors, we have the people who come in here to share their talents, whether it is art or music or any of that. And then we have the people who are here to help those people promote and produce and move forward. It's great to be able to see the cross reference going on like that. And I am actually so proud of the community that we have here. And I love being part of it. And I love having people come on and tell their story and show us how, if you're new to VR, you can connect with these people and they will help you grow. They will, teach you, they will mentor you, and they will point you in the right direction. So it's great to know that there are people out there that are resources for that. And then last week we had on one of our music stars, like we were just talking about, Yo Afro. It was exciting to have her on here, and we did our first time ever live performance on stage. She came up here and sang one of her songs. It was so great to have her up here. She has been involved with the community since the Alt Space days when she actually filmed a video in there. And then, she kind of grew with the community as everybody kept going. She's been part of the sampler, and she's, planning to do more with that in the future. She's part of the block, and she's, really trying to share with everybody her talent. I mean, she's got a beautiful voice. She's got skills. She's up here and she's really trying to, rev up the community and get them going. And I think she's got, a lot of things that she wants to do in here. So I'm excited to see what comes next for music in the metaverse. And I think that she's going to be a big part of it. And I'm excited for that. For any of you who are, going to be around in the metaverse next week for New Year's, you want to be there because a lot of the people that we mentioned here tonight are part of that program that's going to be happening. And, there may be some musical talent on there that is also part of that. So definitely you want to be there. So tonight is a very special episode for me personally and for my team. Blue, who has been with me since the very beginning, who has helped me with every single episode, all of our logistics. And we have Loudfire, who's joined us as, our crowd control. That's a joke, but as our crowd control. I know you guys are well behaved, but this is our 50th episode. I am so excited for this. I can't explain what it means to me to think that I came to this into VR with, no skills of any kind that had to do with VR. I started learning things and I just saw that other people wanted to learn too. And I have been able to bring that to you guys in this platform. I've been able to, bring it to the real world with the YouTube. And I'm just really excited that I have been able to share this with all of you. And Blue, I can't thank you enough for always being there to make sure every single episode goes off. When we have technical difficulties, you don't walk away. You stick that out with me. We have not missed a single scheduled episode. We've had people back off and I have filled the slot somehow. Whether it's something I've dumped on and done or I've found and scrambled somebody last minute, we have not missed a single scheduled episode. And to reach 50 is such a milestone. And thank you for being by my side. And thank you, Loudfire, for joining us. Thank you, Kip, for building us this incredible world. DJ Marcus, for all of your promotion, for sharing us on the Block Party radio station, and for all of you who have come and been our guest, and for those of you who are in our audience each week. I am so grateful to all of you because without every single one of you, this show wouldn't exist. And I am really hoping that season 4 is going to bring a lot of really cool things. For any of you who missed the beginning, we already have a few people scheduled, which is G Deuce, Madame Tink, and we have Satomora coming on. We are also going to be, as I said at the beginning, we're going to be doing one episode each month of training. So anybody who's out there who has a skill that you want to share, or if you're a world builder and you want to show one little cool skill that you figured out that you think would benefit people, if you're somebody who wants to teach people how to do something specific, please hit me up. I will get you scheduled on the show. We'll set aside 1 week each month for your episode. It's going to be great. And keep paying attention because our Patreon is going to be hitting very soon, hopefully before the end of the year, so we can start off January. As I said, the Patreon is going to be there to try and grow the community and bring more people on so that I can give back to them. I would love to see all of you back here next season. And, we thank you for your support. And if you're, not currently doing so, please follow us on all our social media. We have our Discord and all of that. Like I said, I'm going to continue to push stuff out in the off season, but join the Discord so that next season, which is next year, in fact, so that you can be part of that. And when we post things after the show, you'll have all the links. And definitely check out our YouTube channel because that everything is on there. Every episode is on there. You can check it all out. You can actually kind of get a glimpse for anybody who's new. You always hear us talk about Altspace and you don't know what we're talking about. Go on and watch season 1. That was filmed in Altspace, and you'll see the difference in the different avatars, the different platform. Season 2 was in spatial, and we will be back in VRC for season 4 though. So we'll see you here, not in February. Be our kickoff. So we will see you here then. Thank you all so much. I appreciate all of you.